Tokyo Game Show happened, and they pretty much just showed the new features that are coming to Tekken 8. And some of them are actually quite interesting. And I just wanted to make the top three that I think are the most interesting, and then we'll talk about the one that I kind of dislike. And the first one that we have is the new Super Ghost Battle. And what this is essentially you get to play your game. There's like a artificial intelligence that will be tracking almost everything you do, from you playing the game and from you practicing, and then it will eventually build kind of like a profile as to how you play. So the way this works is you could play against yourself, but I don't think it will be used like that. I think it will primarily be used for you to play against other players' ghosts. And like the best example and why this is I think is good for the game is there's a lot of matchups in this game where you don't really get to see. Ling Xiaoyu is one of them. Lei is another one, where you can lose to these players, and it's not really because you think they're better than you, but because you just don't understand the matchup and you don't really get to see the character often. And I was thinking like a good example of how this will be used is like bears are a good example of characters that aren't ever really used. And fortunately for the Tekken community, we have a really good bear player in Rangchu, right? He even plays in professionally. So you would be able to, in theory, choose Rangchu's bear and then be able to practice in a way that would help you play against a high level bear player so you could learn how to play against bears and then become better in that matchup instead of just staying bad at the game. All right. So here's like an example of it. So oh my, I watched stuff sped up. I'm sorry, but uh this is like a match where one of the developers for Tekken is playing against one of the ghosts. And it's really crazy because if you watch this match, you wouldn't really be able to tell who's the ghost and who's not. If you were just like no health bars, no names or anything, you're just watching it, I would just think like, oh, they're just playing. This is like a match of two people playing.
You can see him doing the wind god step in quick succession.
Like
Which is
I really
really
wouldn't be able to tell like, oh look,
特に
waivus and
細
everything.
かいサイドステップを1回挟んだりとかそういうのは今までの CPU だと
That's a
できない動
computer
きな
doing
んで
that.
すね
and you'll notice the ghost even
So
has slight like
it is very interesting. Computer sidestepping,
movement adjustment.
bad punish though. But point is, that's gonna be the AI battle thing. It's the Super Ghost, I think that's what they're calling it. So that's one of the newer features, and it is really interesting. So here's the second most interesting in my opinion, and I'm kind of happy after playing Mortal Kombat and it not having this. Mortal Kombat 1 released didn't have the the fact that you can queue up for matches and also practice. So being in that practice mode, and I didn't understand how good it was until I was playing Street Fighter 6, until I started learning how to play Street Fighter 6, and it was just like I was seeing myself get better faster, and a lot of it just had to do with the fact that I lost and I could just instantly say, I want to learn how to play against my opponent's character. I could go record some stuff and then look at the frame data. And then there was also the fact that it takes away you getting out of queue, going to go to the practice mode so you can go look at whatever you're trying to look at. And because of that, it's like you're removing a layer of laziness essentially. Like you can't really be lazy because you're already there. If the door to your room opened and you were in the gym, a lot of us would go to the gym more often, and it's just that it has to have it. And I really think because Mortal Kombat didn't put this in their game, like they kind of dropped the ball on that. And the next thing, it's no longer infinite rematch, which is good and bad. And there is good and then there is bad in this. And the reason why is because if you're losing to somebody 2 games, it's technically like what it would be in tournament. So therefore, maybe you should go look at why you're losing instead of just rematching and giving the other guy free points. But so that's good in the part that there's not gonna be ego rematching where this guy just keeps rematching because his ego is like, I can't accept that I lost to this guy, and he just keeps losing and rage queuing and getting demoted, right? And I've been there myself. But another thing is best of twos and best of threes help in the sense that, especially if they're graded, I think if the system is graded on the set, it's gonna help a lot more, because there was times where I'd play against people who are 5 ranks ahead of me, and then I would beat them twice, and I'd get like 10 points, and they just leave. And that's a problem, I think, in Tekken. If you're losing a set best of 3 to somebody who's 5 ranks lower than you, maybe you shouldn't. You should lose a lot of points for that. That's how I feel about it. But they don't really talk about the point distributions and how it works. But another thing, the bad problem that I have with it is that if in Infinite Rematch, there was times where I'd match up with somebody, and their country is not even the same country, and it said 4 bar, and then I click okay, let's go, and then once I get in the match, I'm like, it starts being like 3 bar, and there's times where there's heavy delay, and the his character doesn't even look like what he's doing is humanly possible. So there's multiple instances where health goes down and then it comes back because of rollback. So it was just like that. uh I didn't like, and you could just leave, right? But now it's like you're gonna be stuck there. Like, oh, I have to play 2 games against this guy, and they haven't said that there's a forfeit option, and I hope they do have one, because there are times where you load up against somebody. It's like, yeah, this is unplayable, and both of you guys should be able to just say like, yeah, let's. Nobody gets points here. This is just bad, and but we'll see if they even do that. Another thing is the point distribution. If it's the same, I still think that's gonna be a problem. Having to look for people of the same rank is like I always thought was dumb. Why can't I just play against somebody who's 3 ranks, 4 ranks ahead of me and get more points? I think that should be. I like the Street Fighter system the best so far, of in terms of ranked for Tekken 7 and this. So if it's the same where uh, I have to be Fujin and that guy has to be Fujin so I can get the most amount of points, I think it's dumb. Uh, and also with the Tekken prowess system, it doesn't take into like thought like, oh, this is the Tekken, like look at the Tekken prowess between the other. I don't know, but point is, I hope it's not like that. I hope you do get more points for beating people who are of higher ranks, because it should be like you have a rank disparity there of 6 ranks. You should lose a lot of points for that, because why are you losing to a guy who's 6 ranks below you? Like, even if I lost to a green rank, I'd be like, give that guy some points, because clearly he shouldn't be a green rank. Like, why am I losing to him? So I think it's only fair. And then the last feature that I think is really interesting is the new replay system. And the reason why I think the new replay system is going to play a huge part, I think it's going to be great for Oki situations. They added a new replay function where you can substitute yourself for your character for 10 seconds. So if something happened in a match, and this is where I think it will come in handy, you were getting comboed by Marduk or whatever, right? And then there's an Oki situation, and you try tech rolling and he still gets a grounded throw and kabloom, right? Into 5 billion damage. So now you would be able to go into the replay, make go to the part where he starts that combo, substitute yourself in, and then you see, oh, if I would have just back rolled, I would have been fine. Or if I would have just tech rolled but into the background, I would have been fine. Or I could have just broke it by just pressing 2. I didn't even know I could do that, right? So in those situations, I think it will help. And the tip systems did get improved, so now it will tell you how to like throw breaks. I think it already does that though. So, but the most thing is the replay one. I think it's gonna help a lot for Oki situations in the game, more than it will help like you trying to duck a string or block a string, because you could just go in practice mode and you're already in practice mode and just set the character to do the string. So, in terms of replay, I think that Oki situation thing, or where they jump over you and all that, is gonna be cross up stuff, right? It's gonna help you polish those situations instead of giving your opponent free damage. You kind of understand what to do in those situations. So again, that's really good. Um, I think this feature is like really important.
影が来たら
So as you can see here,
境
he
界線とか抜けれ
enables
たかなっていうところ
himself
を
to
同
play,
じ状況
and
を
he could
再
try
現しな
breaking
が
the
ら
throw
練習
there.
が可能です。It'll also
How it has
if
the
you
10
don't do,
seconds
proper
right there.
throws, it'll tell you the proper inputs and let you practice right on the spot.
So yeah, that is
なんで課
a
題
good
を
addition to Tekken 8, and I'm excited for it. But there's one thing that I don't like, and Street Fighter did it, and
で
that's
今
special style. I don't like this. I when I first started playing Street Fighter 6, there was a ton of modern control players, and they I've already complained about this, but it only affects the lower ranked players. If you're at the highest of the highest, it's rare that you run into a modern control player. Even me, who's like in plat 3 or 4 or whatever, right? Um, I see a lot less modern control players, but the way you play against them is completely different than the way you play against somebody who's not on modern, because you can't jump against them, because they have one button anti-airs essentially with shoryukens. So if they add a style like this for Tekken again, I think it won't really affect the high level players, because I think they understand movement, poking, frame data, all that, like just the game in general more, that it's not gonna really affect them. It's not gonna be a big problem for them. But for lower level players who don't really understand how to play the game, they're gonna see it as, that guy's beating me and he's using special style. Why am I even trying to learn the game in its classical form when I could just use special style and also beat people up? So I think it's not. I don't think it's good for the game, because it benefits more the non committed player more, and especially for ranked, I think a lot of people are gonna be upset if this thing is good, and they're saying that this will help adjust air combos and doing certain moves. I think this will be really bad for low levels, because when I first started playing Tekken, there was none of this. It was just like you had to learn the game from scratch, and then they started implementing this, and I don't know how it is now, but I still say just play Katarina, right? Like, that character is easy, but the point is, uh, now every character is Katarina, and this doesn't make, well, maybe like those really button mashing, like like one brain cell players, like it helps them, right? Because they'll just mash, and they'll be probably like playing at a faster pace. But most of the people who will pick this will probably play like some turtley, you come and hit me, and uh, they have this mashing style essentially, which will help benefit them more than actually learning the game. I Again, this will only affect low level play, so I'm just like, I don't really care. I'll just breeze through them. But I feel for the lower level players, because it's like we all start somewhere, and it's gonna feel really weird for them, where it's like, oh, I feel like this guy's at an advantage just because he plays special style. I just, uh, you got to take things for what they are, and it is what it is essentially. And oh well,
今ご紹
this is the only thing. But overall,
介したストー
the
リー
game, I think, is in a positive light. I do like the new features and functions that they're adding to the game. So, um, that's all I wanted to talk about. You guys have a good day. Oh, and like and all that. Like, subscribe, all that.